Hi, I'm Deb Brown with Savior.town, and I have the pleasure of sitting here with Mike Penfold. Mike, can you tell us a little bit? Tell us who you are, first of all.
Deb, it's good to see you. Yes, my name is Mike Penfold. I live in Billings, Montana. And I retired from the Bureau of Land Management and the U.S. Forest Service and got interested in the Bozeman Trail, over a couple decades ago.
So, in your work with BLM, did you do anything around the Bozeman Trail then?
Not a bit.
Not a
Not
bit.
a bit. So this is a retirement passion that has come along later.
And what about it attracted you to it?
I got, as you get older, you get more interested in history. And that history bug kind of bit me. And so my wife and I, at least I got interested in where did this Bozeman Trail go? And so we went out to see if we could follow it with the very primitive maps that were around at that time. And I ran into a chap who became a very good friend, a Crow Indian named Howard Boggess. And we happened to be at Plenty Coups State Park, and Howard Boggess was there, and he was going out on the Bozeman Trail at exactly the same time that we were. So that kind of got us acquainted. And so Howard and I worked for years now on trying to locate the Bozeman Trail and some of that Bozeman Trail history.
I know we were going to talk about something else, but I'm going to pick your brain a little bit first, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I know you've also worked with Ralph, and you guys have done some pretty extensive mapping. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so when Ralph and I first started, we would, we got Dr. Don Woerner had diaries that he had collected on the Bozeman Trail. These diaries were later translated by Susan Badger Doyle into a marvelous set of books called Journeys to the Land of Gold. Anyway, we had these diaries that Don Woerner gave us. So we would read the diaries, and some of the diaries are quite accurate. And they're the diaries of the people who were actually on the Bozeman Trail back in 1864, 1865, and 1866, going from Fort Laramie to Virginia City. So we would use those diaries and the descriptions in there to try to see if we could find where the Bozeman Trail was. At that time, we didn't have Google Earth and aerial photos and a lot of the good things, the good tools you had right now. So that's what we did, and so we walked a good share of the Bozeman Trail, or what we thought was the Bozeman Trail through Montana, at least from through the Crow Reservation and up to Livingston, and a little bit beyond that.
How long have you been working on this project, your Bozeman Trail project?
We put about a authentic wagon train over the trail in 2001, and we'd been working on the trail probably 5 years before that. So that gives you a calculation.
So you actually helped put together, as if someone were traveling the Bozeman Trail with the wagon train, real wagons, correct?
We ran into an interesting character who's now passed by the name of Ben Kern. And Ben Kern's passion was wagon trains over historic trails. So we made contact with Ben Kern, and we brought him to Montana. We kind of showed him what the potential was. And so over almost a 2-year period, he put together a wagon train. And the ground rules were fun. We're going to be on the ruts of the Bozeman Trail as much as we possibly can. And 2, you don't have rubber tires on wagons. They're going to be iron tires or iron rim tires. And 3, you don't have nylon tents that you're going to camp in. You're going to camp in canvas tents like those pioneers did. And we're going to do Dutch oven cooking on the trail. So for literally 2 months, Ben took a wagon train over the Bozeman Trail. And the legwork to get on the trail was pretty extensive here in Montana. You had to work with the Crow tribe of Indians, you had to work with all the landowners who had ruts. And then you also had to deal with the highway department, county road departments, and things like that, where you couldn't actually be on the trail itself.
That's amazing.
So it was a very successful wagon train. I'll grab a coffee here, Homer.
We're going to take a quick coffee break here.
getting dry.
Because I only have one more question for this video for you while you're getting your coffee.
Okay.
For those folks that are watching that know very little about the Bozeman Trail, can you talk just a little bit about those 4 years that it was in effect and why John Bozeman?
The Bozeman Trail is the last gold rush trail in the United States. And the passion to find gold, once a strike was made, there was almost no holding back the people. And the gold was discovered in 1862 at Bannock. And Bannock quickly turned into a gold rush town with thousands of people. 1863, gold was discovered in the Virginia City area. Virginia City area turned from a wilderness area to 10,000 people.
Wow.
in an eye blink. The word of those gold rush gold being found in Montana got all over the United States very quickly. So people sold their farms, gathered up their families, and got on the trail to come to the gold fields in Montana. Getting to those gold fields was a hard thing to do. You had to come down the Oregon Trail, then you would get into Utah, and then you had to take a dog leg back into Montana. So John Bozeman, who was an entrepreneur, decided we could really make a shortcut from Fort Laramie or the North Platte River to get to Virginia City. Cut off many, many miles, shortened the time. So he pioneered, he took a swing through that country with the idea that he was going to lead a wagon train through. What John Bozeman was actually doing was following old Indian trails that followed the same kind of routes. So, but the problem was that the Bozeman Trail, as we now call it, the Bozeman Trail, actually Bozeman wasn't the first one to go over it, but anyway, we call it the Bozeman Trail. He got his name christened on it. Went through Indian country, and really the last hunting grounds of the Crow people and the Sioux people, which the federal government had treated with them, those Indians, that we're going to respect your hunting grounds here. We're not going to bother you. Of course, gold got in the way, so we wiped that away in an eye blink. So what happened is, real hardship for those immigrants coming over the Bozeman Trail, and really hardship for this clash of cultures that was now happening big time in this Indian country that had been their homeland for tens of thousands of years. And tens of thousands of years is kind of an interesting comment, because what you find is as the Pleistocene opened up, people migrated down from Siberia, Alaska, down along the east face of the Rocky Mountains and brought you right down here. We think the Bozeman Trail actually was one of the pathways that these earliest of these new Americans coming into North and South America took to finally spread across North and South America.
Wow. Well, thank you. We'll do some more interviews. Thank you for this one.
You bet.